What is going on, guys? I'm back on the mic today from Spectral Sound, and today I'm going to show you how I made this machine gun in Serum. Super realistic, sounds like this. Now first off, before I start this tutorial, I just want to say that Rocket Powered Sound is basically like almost giving away these vocal packs. Like there's 5 vocal packs, each one he's selling for $1. So like $5, you get 5 vocal packs of like all these different kinds of vocals, from like one shots to pre-drops to reverse vocals, like all this cool stuff. But there's a link in the description, and you should go and check that out before it ends. I don't know why he's selling it for just $5, but seriously, take advantage of that while it's there, because he's not gonna leave it up there forever. Links in the top of the description. Go check that out. I just thought that'd be really cool to let you guys in on that before it goes away. I mean, if you don't want vocal samples, then you do you. But anyways, back to the tutorial. This was a sound that I actually made when I was making sounds for my preset pack that's going to come out very soon. There's going to be like 50 wavetables and 100 presets. I've already done around 70 presets so far. It's turning out really good. But I posted a video of this machine gun bass that I made on Instagram. And you know, I don't have nearly as many followers on Instagram. That's Rubik's Official. It's right here. It's right here. That's me. Follow me. But one guy was asking for the preset, and of course I couldn't give him the preset because it's part of the base pack, so I cannot give the preset. There won't be a link in the description to download the preset. However, I can still show you how I made it. First off, real quick, just let me go through the LFOs. LFO 1 is going to be the main, that's the main LFO that's going to be doing most of the modulating here. I created this kind of gun shape. I took the gunshot one. Let's see, where is that? Yeah, gunshot. I forget if it was 1 or 2, but I took that and I kind of edited it around and changed things around, and I got this general shape. Now, this is not a perfect shape like LFO 2 is. LFO 2 is pretty, up and down basic stuff. This one goes, kind of whips around a little bit more, and that is going to add a lot more of a realistic kind of tone to the sound, because it's not goes up perfectly flat and then falls down. That's not how an actual gunshot works. There's like kind of a double hit action there, and this is what's going to make it sound realistic. So LFO 2 is pretty much the same thing. A few things are tweaked and changed around, except I just, brought up the dip. I can just delete that, and then you make it smoother. That is going to be for things such as the sub bass, which I don't want to whip around because that can get kind of messy when you do that. I just wanted it to be static. For those few things that I wanted to be static up there. First off, I selected one of my wavetables from my wavetables pack right here. You don't have these yet, but when the preset pack comes out, you will get the wavetables with the pack. This one is called IK This Much Power. So we drop that down 1 octave, and we're modulating a bit of the wavetable position here. I'm not going to go into too much details because, you don't have the wavetable. It doesn't really matter that much right now. But I'm modulating the level up 75 as well. So it's going from 75 to normal, and you get something like this. So we're getting a general kind of gunshot action right here. After that, I'm just going to go ahead and throw on the sub, because why not? Sub bass. It's just doing very, very basic sub bass stuff with LFO 2 right here. It's going up 100%, down an octave, rounded square wave, direct out, simple stuff. Alright, bass. Next, let's throw on some noise. And this is what's going to give it a lot more of a natural kind of sound, along with a lot of other processes I'm doing here. It's going to sound more like a gun, because if you know anything about guns, or if you know what guns are, you know that they are metal. And when you're shooting stuff, if it's like a shotgun or a minigun or whatever kind of gun you have, the bullets are metal as well. Especially if you're dealing with shells, there's a lot of resonating frequencies from that metal, and they're very high pitched. And I'm achieving an effect similar to that with wind chimes right here. If you go into organic, select wind chimes, it's just a really high metal sound. It sounds like this. You can see it up there even if you can't hear it that well. I'm modulating that also with LFO 1, modulating the volume right there. And that just kind of, it adds that extra layer. Kind of sounds like shells flying away or something like that. And when you're holding down a note, it stays there, so you can adjust the length of a note to how much metal you actually want in the gunshot. So that is a very nice natural layer. I guess you could technically call that Foley. I just think that it's a really good trick to use the wind chimes. And I use the wind chimes all the time in making basses. It just adds awesome high frequency content, makes it sound really sharp and powerful. All right, with the wind chimes. Cool, and now we're going to flip on a filter. This is a comb positive filter, and it's just the first comb positive. There isn't none of the L6 H, stuff like that. It's just the normal comb filter positive. And basically I'm just whipping this around to get less of a pitch. I want it to have very, very minimal pitch to the sound. I want it to be whipped around, a lot of frequencies moving, just a big mess basically. So I have the comb positive on, just A is running through it. Obviously we're not doing anything from oscillator B, and the noise and the sub don't really need to run through this. They're already good the way they are. The cutoff is at 166 hertz, going up 39. So it's just going with LFO1 here. It's just dropping down a lot, you see? It's just doing a, and that just messes everything up, messes with the phases especially, you can see. It just, just grimes it up, and it sounds really good when you're trying to make a gunshot. This wouldn't sound good on a bass just really for this sound, but it's a good, it's kind of essential to make it sound real. The resonance is modulating from 74 down, -53. This is all just stuff that I chose to do to mess it up. It doesn't really matter. You can move these around either way you want, but the drive is very important. It's at 0%. It's modulating up 50. That is just going to add so much more power to the sound, because if I bring it down, you have this, which is all basically a static level. Like, there isn't too much dynamics in there, but if we bring the drive up to 50, it just adds that much more power behind the shot, and just that little bit of saturation built into the filter. It makes a big difference. All right, and for this sound we are going to be using all of the effects. There's a ton of effects I put on this, and they're all linked to stuff with the macros. I'll get to the macros later. I'm not going to go too in depth because it really doesn't matter that much. I'm just going to show you what each one does and just kind of show you the preset in general, because it sounds really nice. First of all, distortion, a bit of hard clip. The drive is at 60% and it is going, let's see, it's working with LFO2 here. So it's whipping around a little bit less. I could get really, really messy. I didn't really want that. I just wanted a little more static. It goes up 47, so we're getting a ton of distortion, all the hard clip up there, and then it drops back down, adding even more dynamics, just increasing the dynamics of the sound a lot. And it's really going to add a lot more power. And it does basically control the sound there, because it hits that point right there and stops, so you're not getting huge peaks. It's just compressing it down and driving it through. So the hard clip is very, very good for adding, harsh dynamic to a sound like this. I add it to my basses all the time. Then we have a little bit of hyperdimension, not much here, because that can make a sound very fake. So what I did here, I just have the mix up at 17%. I didn't mess with any of this. The size is at 0 and the mix is at 0, but I'm using it with a macro, so it's about there. Let's see what the macro at 25%, around 25%. You can kind of modulate that there if you wanted with the preset. I threw on a chorus after this, and that's going to add even just a little more width. And that, I believe, is linked to the voices. Yeah, if you turn up the voices, it'll also get more, just a little wider. It'll also make it sound more dissonant. So like you're not right up by the gun, or you're not holding the gun. It'll sound like you're a little bit farther away, you get more echoes, a little more ambient, stuff like that. So that's what that achieves there, a little bit of each one. Not much, it's just subtle layering, and it fills out the sound. It sounds pretty nice. Next up, we have a phaser, and what I'm doing, I have basically everything turned down except the feedback and phase, which are at normal, and I'm modulating this with, let's see, yeah, LFO1 here. This is basically, it gets you that guitar amped effect. It boosts the midsection, and it does some cool stuff with the lows, and it just overall gives it a lot more power. It sounds like it's going through a guitar amp. It's really nice to layer on growls and other things that don't have a lot of power, but I just modulated it in a little bit here just to display what it does. It's at 5%. I'll turn it all the way up so you can hear. That's the kind of thing that it does. And if you just mix it in a little bit, let's see, it was at 5. It just adds a nice layer, just nitpicking here and there. It just adds a little more power. I like to keep it on. After that, we have compression, multiband compression. I have the threshold at -16.1, and I believe everything else is exactly the same. Did I mess with any of these? I didn't, except for the midband, which I brought down to 92. That's just a little bringing the mid down a little bit. I mean, I did boost the gain, but that's just mixing in with the threshold. It just drives it through more and gives it even more power, because this is a gun. This is about the most powerful thing that can come out of Serum. And also, that's bringing up all the kind of drowning away of the actual gunshot and the noise that what was it? Wind chimes. It's bringing that back up and making it more present. So you're hearing a little more of that decay. It adds a little more Foley to the sound to make it more real. Next up, we have a filter, which I'm just mixing in a Combs filter, low cutoff, low resonance, no drive, just mixing that in a little bit. It adds this, just that little bit of kind of metallicness. This isn't necessary. I'm going to tell you right now, if you take it off, it's going to sound almost exactly the same. It just, subtle layering when you're doing these kind of things can really come in handy. So next, a flanger. I love using the flanger, just, not messing with any of the settings, just turning it down to a little bit below 50% when I'm doing stuff, because every time you hit the note, it'll sound just that little bit different. You won't notice it, but it'll be subtle and it'll add life to your sound. So I do that in so many of my sounds, just add a little bit of the flanger there. And just a little bit difference. You don't notice it, but it's there and your mind is comprehending it. Next up, I have an EQ, and all I'm doing with this is I have a low pass filter right here with, I lowered the Q factor a little bit, and I have the frequency linked to this macro right here, which is basically just controlling the lows, how much low frequency you want, how much low punch you want to come through, because the low end is kind of messy, and depending on where you're using this sound, it could be better to have more or less of the mess down there. So that's all that macro is doing right there. I like to have it all the way down because it sounds a lot more powerful and real when you're not using it in a track. So I just left it like that. For this delay, what I did, I'm doing the kind of classic metallic thing here where you put the feedback up a little bit and you have link on. I brought them to 18.6. It's on normal, and I have basically no filtering going on here. Now, if you were to turn the mix all the way up with this knob right here that I have linked, you would get this sound with the really, really metallic sound that you hear in rhythm all the time. So I just added that in there because you can mix it in if you want to use it in a track. You should just mix in a little bit of rhythm or go full, all the way, whatever you want to do it with. It sounds a little more mechanical when you're doing it that way, but I just mixed it in a little bit. It's basically for whatever use you want to use it for, which is what these macros are meant to do. They're for what the person wants to use the sound for, to kind of customize it a little bit. Lastly, Verb, doing very, very simple things with the Verb. Let's see, where is that? Yeah. I have the mix at 13% and just modulating up 15 with LFO 2 here. It's just to give it, kind of gate the Verb with the actual sound, the delay, especially after the compression. Like the gunshot would come in and then the Verb would go afterward, and I didn't really want that effect in this particular sound, so if I just modulated the Verb upward, it kept the Verb at a steady level. I mean, it's obviously modulating up and down, but to the ear, perceived loudness, it sounds more steady. So, and I just brought the size and decay down a little bit, brought the low cut, high cut all the way up. Basic reverb stuff. It's on Hall. There's nothing too special about this Verb. Alright, kind of rambled on a bit there, but thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, drop a like below. Tell me what you think of the sound. How accurate do you think I got? What kind of gun do you think it is? I know crap about guns, so I probably won't understand. If you are new here, smash that subscribe button for more Serum tutorials, and I will see you in the next video. Peace!